Hello and thank you for subscribing to Infoverse Tech. This is a channel where we explore new trends in technology, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, Python programming, and similar. Today we're going to look at Nuclei, which is a community-powered open source vulnerability scanner. So Nuclei is a fast template-based vulnerability scanner which focuses on extensive configurability, massive extensibility, and ease of use. There are thousands of community developed Nuclei templates in the library. As of last count, we're looking at 5,000 plus templates. The range of templates include detections for known CVEs, common misconfigurations, exposed sensitive files, tech stack, fingerprinting, and similar. Please do note that Nuclei should only be used on systems you own or have explicit written permission for. So in the tutorial today, I'll be using locally set up machines that I own, servers, and also I'll give an example of a machine running in Azure Cloud and see how we can run Nuclei against that and detect any vulnerabilities. So to get started, I'm showing the Nuclei page. This is created by a project called Project Discovery, and if you go to getting started, it shows you the various ways you can install it. So I took the GitHub version and I have the Nuclei version installed. I'll show it on my machine quickly, and if you're interested you can also use a Docker version. So either way, it's very straightforward and simple to start the installation and get started. So let's hop on to my environment. Let me give a quick update on that. So I'm running Centos 7 virtual machine and I have Nuclei installed here. Let me do an ls and you can see I have the Nuclei in the downloads folder. I have the Nuclei executable running here. Okay, so let's explore some of the commands, and once I run the -h, which is for help, you will see that Nuclei actually is very powerful. It has many features, as you can see from the switches here, and they're divided into categories. So how you want to output, how you want to see the output, how you can do some filtering. There is templates, how you specify a target, and the configurations, and also some advanced concepts like rate limiting and optimizations. So this is a very basic tutorial today on Nuclei, just to get you started and interested in this area. It's open source, it's security, so a great combination. And I would be posting the links where you can explore further, and I would encourage you to go through these or most of these switches and commands and see how powerful Nuclei is. One of the really powerful features of Nuclei is to be able to create your own template in order to detect certain vulnerabilities, but that is an advanced topic, but I would encourage you to look into that as well. So to get started, I'll give a quick command to run. So we did -h for help, and if I just do -u, that means I can then point to let's say a website as an example. So like I said, I'm not going to run it on any website because it has an impact on it, and it is strongly discouraged unless you have permission. So this is the command syntax. So once I run that, it will query any vulnerabilities against the templates that Nuclei has. And as I mentioned, as of last count, we have a total of 5,678 templates. Let's look at another way. Let's say maybe you want to hit a server. So I can do that. Like I said, I have a server running. So let me just put in the IP here. And if I run that, you can see that it will show me the version, which is 2.8 .9. It's created by projectdiscovery.io, and here you can see that I have template version is 9.3.9. The latest templates updated were 61. The total templates loaded for the scan are 5678. Targets loaded are 1, and then it goes through that whole process of running all the templates and vulnerabilities in that on that machine. So as you can see that it's using another optimization factor called clustering. So templates clustered 995, reduced 917 requests. So if Nuclei sees that a certain service belongs to multiple templates and will need to be tested, it combines them in a single request. So that's what it means by clustering. So it greatly helps reduce the traffic that's going to that target, and especially important if we are looking at a list of targets. So you can see it's going through that server, and it's detected that it's got Apache running. It's an Ubuntu machine, and it's also providing some information. As you can see, it has some missing security headers, and all of them are the severity is in info, which is more informational. So it's good to know, but it's not something that can affect you at this moment. But it's great information that can be captured, and then you can go back and resolve them. Here we see some severity levels marked high, and they belong to the open proxy internal, and you can see that it's listing those out as well. So I'll just quickly exit out of here, and as I exited, you notice that it created a resume file. So this is another great feature of Nuclei, that if I need to stop it for some reason, I can do a Control-C, and then it creates a resume file, which I can then use to continue working. And this is really important if we were scanning hundreds of hosts and we had to stop for some reason. So Nuclei allows you to continue from where you left off. So again, another very powerful feature to be noted. Okay, let's look at another option, which is to if I bring up the same command, but here at the end I add -o and results as an example. It can be any name. What will happen is, what we're seeing on the screen, it will pipe it into the results.txt or any name that we suggest, and then we can review that later. So what I've also done is I've as I mentioned, I've run Nuclei against a Windows machine, another Windows machine in Azure Cloud, another on the local network, and a couple of Linux boxes, and I've captured all that information. So I will go through that as well. So let's take a quick look. So if I go to we are in the downloads folder. Let's take a look. So let's have a look at the Windows desktop. So let me do. So you can see that it ran against that machine, and it detected that it was I believe a Windows 2016. And what else can we see here? Again, we see some missing security headers information. Again, they're all informational, and so on, right? So this was running on my local machine, and it also detected that there's an RDP network that's open as well. So something to be aware of, that there could be a potential issue there. Let's look at another one. So I did also mention that instead of going to a single machine at a time, I can do like a list of machines. So what I can do is I can add them to a file. Here I'm calling it urls.txt, and if I open that up, you can see that I have some site 1, some site 2, some site 3, and so on. So if I let Nuclei access those sites, I can put them in a single file, and then it can then go through them one by one. Okay, let's take another look. So like I said, I had another Windows virtual machine running in Azure, so let's take a look at that one. That was just I didn't make any changes. It's just a stock machine that I created, and then I pointed Nuclei edit and ran the vulnerability. So this was in the Azure cloud, and you can see the only thing that it detected there was that it was again a Windows 2016, and it had RDP open port 3389. You can see the 20.104.128.60 was the public IP address for that virtual machine. Okay, let's take a look at the Centos machine. So let's have a look at that. And it's a Centos 7, and you can see that it detected an RPC bind port mapper detection on port 1111, and also again an informational that SSH open SSH was open. So we do need to go into a little more detail, especially if it's high or critical, but these are informational, so nothing to really worry about at this stage. Let's look at the Ubuntu one. So so this one, little more information, and this is the one that I was showing earlier. So you have more of them are informational, except the open proxy internal, which were all categorized as high. So the system admin might need to take a look at this and see that you have mail, you have NTP, you have internet, many ports open, perhaps that you don't want them to be open, which pose a certain vulnerability issue. Okay, so those were some of the machines that I ran Nuclei against. Now let's look at some other options. So let's look at another command. So this is if I bring that, and I can say dash stats. So when this runs, it actually brings up a lot of informational stuff on and collects statistics on the vulnerability scan that we're running. So it will run, and it will be generating that. Again, what we can do is we can pipe that into a results file, or any other file that we can then review later at a later time. Okay, I'll let that run for a few more seconds, and then we'll go to the next command. So as you can see, as it's querying running that vulnerability scan on that target, is it generating a little more information than we saw earlier, because it's really capturing the statistics for that. So you can see the requests per second sent out were 111, they matched 22, there were some errors, so more information that you can get by adding that stats. Now there's another one that's debug. Now I will not run this because this really goes into a lot of detail. So if this is really useful for troubleshooting and or RCAs, which are root cause analysis, you can run that with the debug option. It really goes into each and every detail. So very detailed log that would be generated. So that's why I will not be running it here. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the ways you can do nuclei filters. So let me remove that, and let's add as an example, I just want to see all the templates that have the CVE tag attached to them. So when I run that, you can see that the number of templates would be reduced, because it's just checking the ones that have the CVE. And you can see that the templates loaded for this scan was a mere fraction. We had 5,678, but here it's just loading 1648, because it's just matching the ones that has CVE in the template name or on the content. So let me exit out of that, and let's run another so I can specify the severity, right? So I can say the severity is, let's say, high. Give me all the templates that have severity high, or that check for severity high. So it's going to go through that process, and then again you can see that the number of templates loaded are much smaller than what it would be if the the filter was not specified there. Okay, so let's take a look. Those are filters, and again, we can specify critical, we can specify different options, and all of that is listed in the when you do like a dash help. And I'll also link to a page that's provided by the project discovery team, and it really goes into a lot of details. So you can see that it's running, and those templates are checking for the high severity. So let me exit out of here. Okay, let's take a look a little more detail on the templates. So if I do .nuclei -tl, this will list the templates. So let's it takes a little more time to run because it's just collecting and then displaying all that information. So these are all the templates that we have. So let's pipe that through to get the number of templates and see how many there are. So you can see, you have some WordPress, you have Yonu, Zen, Zyxel. If you go up, so you see we have 5,678 total templates. Okay, the next thing we can do is to run another command called, if I bring that up and I say -u -nt. Now this one will run only the new templates. So let's give that a shot. So you maybe you checked, you've been regularly doing vulnerability scans, and you just want to check for the most recent ones. So then you can use this -nt, and it'll just run those ones. And you can see that and it's told you earlier as well that in the last update it added 61, so it's just using those 61 to scan this time. So again, helps you to optimize. Now let's take a look at another one, which is, if I bring it up and I say VV, this will actually display the templates that are loaded for the scan. This might take a little more time, but it gives a little more detail on the. So you can see you have some WordPress, you have Sassy, Social Share. There are thousands of these templates, and the good thing is these are community provided. So you can go ahead and write as well, and submit it to the community. So that was -vv to display templates. Let's look at the other one, which is -tv, which actually shows the version and location of the installed Nuclei. So this is also pretty helpful. You can see that the location is Nuclei templates, and I'll quickly show you and also on the custom GitHub you also have this location. So good information that can be noted down. So if we do a quick print working directory, you see I'm in the downloads folder. If I go one folder up and you can see I have the Nuclei templates folder, and inside this you have a ton of information, including the workflows, which is again a very important feature of Nuclei, and a host of other information. I would definitely recommend exploring this. Now let's do another one, which is updating the templates. So let's run that. Actually I haven't run this I thought I'll do it during the tutorial just to see if it's able to pick up any additional templates. So let's run that. Okay, so no new updates found. So the most recent ones that we pulled the last time was about 61, adding to a total of 5,678. So I just want to talk about workflow, which is an interesting concept. That if you look at the workflow for, let's say, some SAP vulnerability, so all the vulnerabilities that pertain to that are created in that workflow in a certain order, and when we select and run that workflow, it will run through all of those listed vulnerabilities, making sure that you have now a workflow that goes through and runs those vulnerability scans against that. Clustering, we spoke about the clustering, where it can really help you optimize by reducing the traffic going to those targets. Okay, and so those were that was a quick tutorial on Nuclei. You can see it's a very powerful vulnerability assessment tool, so I would encourage you to explore it. The best way to start it is doing Nuclei-H, and you can see that you have hundreds of these options that you can run. So just to add, I think it would be interesting to look at the cloud options. I haven't looked at them as yet, and also how to write your own template. So I might be covering that in a later video. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.